that we can see before us today. There's a great divide as to how the public feels about it. Some very strongly for it, some very strongly against it. Commissioner Witt, pointed out to us, and he was right when he said this, that the CMP is not anti-development. It is not. It does not exist to block all development, but rather to make sure that development happens where it should happen and not occur where it should not. While I disagree with Commissioner Witt's conclusion and with his statement that the authors of the CMP intended gas pipelines to receive special consideration, I don't see that that's evident in the Comprehensive Management Plan, Commissioner. It is true that the CMP does not prohibit pipelines or other utility infrastructure, and the Commission has permitted them. This record shows, the record on this application shows that the Commission has permitted 6 prior pipeline developments to this applicant, South Jersey Gas. So, why the lengthy discussion about this application? It's because the CMP does not allow development everywhere. It particularly restricts development in the protected forest area. And this application proposes to bury 10 miles of pipeline in the forest area. Some argue that it's not true forest area, it's a roadbed. I reply to them that that's a meaningless distinction. We should not be distracted by it. It's laudable that the applicant seeks to minimize disturbance to the trees of the forest by planning to build under pre-existing roadbed. But the forest is not just trees. The forest area is a conglomeration of trees, soil, streams, plants, animals, and habitat that together form a great natural filtration system that cleans and preserves the groundwater that is beneath the trees. CMP does not prohibit us from authorizing development of utility infrastructure in the forest area. However, it frowns on that development and it sets a very high bar for us to follow when we consider it. It tells us that such development must, quote, primarily serve only the needs of the Pinelands. The clash of the words primarily and only in that phrase are jarring. We're told that this was a mistake, that the original phrase serve only was intended to be modified to primarily serve, and in the haste to change the phrase, a mistake was made, leaving both words in place. However, over 30 plus years of the Pinelands Act and the CMP, no Pinelands Commission, and certainly not this one, has ever seen fit to change that phrase. I'm not so sure that we can simply dismiss the word only that has been in place for so long in the CMP. So, which standard should we apply? Only or primarily? As a commissioner, I think that even though no New Jersey court has ever defined that standard for us, I do believe that if an applicant can show us that they can meet even the less restrictive standard of primarily, then we are obligated to act on that application. We just have to bear in mind that the original authors also said only, suggesting just how high a bar they expected the applicants to have to meet. We have to apply that very high bar. Why? Why was the standard set so high? Because the initial reason for the passage of the Pinelands Act was not just a recognition of the unique nature of this forest, but of the reality that outside forces were interested in creating lateral development projects through it. If the act had not been passed when it had, projects might have occurred that would have used the Pinelands as a pathway to connect the Jersey coast with Philadelphia, and in the process denigrate the forest. Commissioner Ashman reminds us that there was interest in the 1970s to build an above-ground petroleum pipeline from the coast to the refineries of Philadelphia, and the Act prevented that. Clearly, in passing the Act and formulating the CMP, it was recognized that while some development would be necessary, that when it came to the forest area, development should be the exception and only happen when it was clear that such development was necessary to serve the needs of the Pinelands. Does this application primarily serve only the needs of the Pinelands? I have looked at that question from a variety of perspectives, in terms of the demand for electricity, in terms to a reliable access to natural gas, in terms of protection from airborne emissions, in terms of who's bearing the cost of the pipeline, in terms of what is the volume of gas that will be transmitted through this pipeline, in terms of who will get the jobs and benefit from the commerce created by this pipeline, and in terms of who will assume the risk of harm that could occur from pipeline installation and operation. For each of these areas, I find that the facts in the record show us that this pipeline does not primarily serve the needs of the The gas reliability affects 142,000 customers of South Jersey Gas, of which only 20,000, a minority, are in the Pinelands. The airborne emissions can be reviewed several different ways because of the conflict of facts in the record. You can compare the